So I was doing a yoga practice today, and it's been the first time in a while, so I'm pretty rusty with my yoga moves, and I definitely did a lot of modifications to make sure that I was comfortable doing it. But as I was doing it, it really highlighted where the body has created compensations as tension has built. Um, Particularly with lots of sitting, lots of being super stationary, doing a lot of compensation because I'm recovering from an injury. So getting back into something like yoga just highlighted all these places where there's compensations. And I thought it might be helpful to share something that's been very front of mind for me as I help people improve back pain and hip mobility and thoracic posture, all of these things. So I'm going to show you real quick. Now, say you're doing just a nice like forward fold stretch, right? When you have tight hamstrings or a tight low back and you really want to accomplish this forward fold or a forward fold here, it's very, very easy to accomplish that if you don't pay attention, because your body will do whatever you ask it to, regardless if it's the best way to do it. So if I'm going to do this forward fold on a tight low back and tight hamstrings, I'm very capable of accomplishing it by really just flexing through my upper back, right? So I can come into this, and if you'll notice, the upper back is extremely rounded, almost to the point of being a sharp curve. Whereas if you see the low back, it's a little bit of a curve. Unfortunately, I just finished yoga, so it's got a little bit of curve. But really, compared to the upper back, it's flat. Like there's nothing, and there's actually very little happening at the hip crease, right? So as I go into this fold, say I was very tight, I can do this all day long, right? And I can reach my toes. I know you can't see, but I can reach my toes. That's very, very different from creating length in the upper back and then really allowing that fold to come through these lower spaces. Indeed, getting on top of the sits bones or in front of the sits bones and keeping the upper back relatively flat as the lower back gets long. And for those of you with tight hamstrings, tight lumbar spine, or if you are somebody who lives in a bunch of lordosis where your lower back has a lot of curve to it, right? Forcing yourself to put some length there, you're no longer allowing your very flexible thoracic spine to give you room. In other words, you're putting strengthening back into your mid to upper back, and you're adding length to that very tight, overly shortened lumbar spine. So just think of that when you're doing any move. It doesn't have to be yoga. If you're trying to get more flexibility for your tight low back, remember that as you're doing any kind of stretches or core exercises or postural exercises, that if you're someone with that tension, if you're not aware, you're going to think you're doing the right thing, and instead you're actually just leaning into that flexy upper back. So keep the shoulder blades back a little bit. Try to imagine lengthen the lumbar spine and see if that changes how it feels. Be patient with yourself, because when you do this, you're going to find that whatever you were good at is now suddenly drastically less good. But now it's more valuable. And at the end of the day, we need quality and value, not quantity. Good luck with that. I hope you're patient with it, and let me know how it goes.